I'd like to call this December 14th Board of Adjustment meeting to order, and welcome everyone here. In looking at the agenda, we have no minutes to approve. What we will do is, at this time, sound the agenda, asking for any postponements or withdrawals from anyone. So if anyone has any postponements or withdrawals that's in the audience, please come forward. Yes, sir. Please state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Matt Carter. I'm with Vision Engineering. If you would turn to page 4 on the agenda, item 5C 2007-103 DJ Acquisitions LLC. We would like to postpone for 1 month to your January 25th hearing. With this time, we would be able to amend our application so we can address some concerns that the staff had.
Okay, thank you. Any questions from the board? If not, we have a motion. Is there a second? Second. All those in favor, please say aye. This would be until the January 25th, 2008 meeting. All those in favor, please say aye. 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 Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Any other postponements or withdrawals from the audience? Yes, sir.
My name is Lester Miller, and I'm a representative of Bluegrass Meats for CV 2007-108 on page 2 of the agenda.
Yes, sir.
And we would like to withdraw a request for a variance and then request for the postponement or the conditional use permit into the January 25th meeting.
Okay, so you're asking to withdraw the variance to increase the allowable distance and postpone the conditional use permit.
That's correct.
Until the January 25th.
Because of recent changes in the laws requiring 100 seats for Sunday service. We're going to change the kind of footprint of the service area of the restaurant and come up with a new argument based on the decreased need for parking.
Okay. All right, then. Ms. Boland, all we need to act on is the postponement, I would presume.
Yes, you need to act on the postponement, but the board doesn't need to take any action on the withdrawal.
Okay, thank you. So if everyone understands, he's asking for withdrawal of the variance and a postponement just for the conditional use permit. This would be CV 2007-108, Bluegrass Meats. Motion's made, and we need a second. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you. Oops. Any other postponements? Yes, sir.
The Kentucky Data Link.
I'm sorry, your name, sir?
My name is Bo Reynolds.
Bo Reynolds.
Requesting to go with the postponement of case C 2007-106, Kentucky Data Link Incorporated, so I can just provide the further details that are asked for here.
That would be until the January 25th, 2008 meeting?
Yes, sir.
Okay, thank you. Motion, is there a motion for C 2007-106 to be postponed until January? And a second. Motion's been made and seconded. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Thank you, sir. Any other requests for postponement or withdrawals? If not, we will proceed through the agenda, asking to make sure everyone is here, or if there's anyone in opposition to any of the approved items. First one would be First one would be V 2007-110, Mr. Damon Pleasant, who appeals for variance to reduce the required front yard from 30 feet to 27 feet. Is the applicant here? Yes, sir. Thank you. Are there any opposition to this? No? Okay, thank you. The next would be V 2007-111, Harrods Village LLC. appealing for a variance to increase the allowable height of a fence for screening purposes from 8 feet to 10 feet. Property located 3901 Harrodsburg Road. Is the applicant here? Yes. Thank you. Are there anyone in opposition to this? No? Okay. The next case is C 2007-88, Lexington Montessori School appeals for a conditional use permit to expand the existing school and increase the enrollment from 52 to 65 students at property located 315, 325 South Broadway Park. Applicant here? Yes, okay. Are there anyone in opposition to this? No. Thanks. Next case would be C 2007-101, Mission Lexington Incorporated, who appeals for a conditional use permit to establish a church-sponsored free medical clinic for adults in a planned neighborhood residential R3 zone, property located 1321 Trent Boulevard. Is the applicant here? Yes, thank you. Anyone in opposition to this? Okay, thank you. At times, let me mention this, at times, opposition may be more just asking questions instead of opposition. What I would ask is attempt to get with the applicant because at this point in time, this case would be heard later anyway, later today, more towards the end of the agenda. So you may be able to clear up any questions that you have. If not, you're more than welcome to
I'd just like to be heard by the board.
Okay, that's fine. That's fine.
Should I do
Yes.
that now?
That will come later.
Okay.
Okay, thank you. The next case would be C 2007-102, the South Elkhorn Baptist Church, who appeals for a conditional use permit to establish child care center, property located 4867 Purcell Road. Is the applicant here? Yes. Yes, just for a moment. Yes. Applicant on here, okay. Anyone in opposition to this? No. Next case would be C 2007-104, Mr. David Allen, appeals for a conditional use permit to establish a child care center in existing church, property located 313 Burleigh Avenue. Applicant here? Yes. Okay. Anyone in opposition to this? No? Thank you. Next case is C 2007-105, Consolidated Baptist Church, who appeals for a conditional use permit to construct a new ministry center for the church in an AU zone located at 1625 Russell Cave Road. Applicant here? Okay. Anyone in opposition? No? Okay. And then C 2007-107, CMW Incorporated, who appeals for a conditional use permit to increase, let me back up, who appeals for a conditional use permit to extend the regulations of a planned residential neighborhood up to 50 feet in a single-family residential and also an agricultural urban zone located 935 Red Mile Road. Applicant here? Okay. Anyone in opposition to this? No. And then last would be Commonwealth Credit Union C 2007-109, who appeals for a conditional use permit to construct a drive-through located in a P1 zone at 201 Ruscio Way. Is the applicant here? Thank you. Anyone in opposition? No? Okay, thank you. What will take place will be those that have no opposition in order as they appear on the agenda, and we'll try and move through this. To begin with, anyone in the audience that plans or has intentions of providing testimony or speaking, I need to ask that you stand to be sworn in. So if you would, please, anyone planning to speak, please stand and raise your right hand. Do you swear the information you are about to give shall be the truth today? Should have said yes, but okay, thank you. First case is V 2007-110, Mr. Damon Pleasant, who appeals for a variance to reduce the required front yard from 30 feet to 27 feet in order to construct a sunroom in a single-family residential R1 zone, R1C zone, property located at 1725 Palmyra Avenue, District, Council District 6. Mr. Pleasant, we're ready for you. Please come forward. You didn't stand. I'm sorry. Do you swear the information you're about to give shall be the truth? Thank you. Please come forward to the microphone and state your name for recording purposes.
Okay.
Your name.
Oh,
For-
my name is Damon Pleasant. I live at 1725 Palmyra.
Thank you, sir. You have read and agree with the conditions that's recommended by the staff? Have you seen these conditions?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Are there any questions from the board in regards to this? If not, I would entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that V-2007-110 Damon Pleasant appeals for a variance to reduce the required front yard from 30 feet to 27 feet in order to construct a sunroom in a single-family residential R1C zone on property located at 1725 Palmyra Avenue, Council District 6, be approved as recommended by the staff and subject to the three conditions.
Thank you. Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of V 2007-110. Mr. Damon Pleasant. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir.
Thank you very much.
Merry
Appreciate
Christmas. Happy New Year.
Next case is V 2007-111 Harrods Village LLC appeals for a variance to increase the allowable height of a fence for screening purposes from 8 feet to 10 feet in a neighborhood business B1 zone on property located 3901 Harrodsburg Road, Council District 10. Yes, sir. Your name?
I am Michael Ades. I'm attorney for the applicant. We have reviewed and agree with the conditions set forth by the staff and ask for your approval.
Okay. Thank you, sir. Any questions from the board? If not, I'd entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I recommend B 2007-111 Harrods Village LLC appeal for a variance to increase the allowable height of a fence for screening purposes from 8 feet to 10 feet in a neighborhood business B1 zone on property located at 3901 Harrodsburg Road in Council District 10, be approved as recommended by the staff with the four conditions set forth.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of V 2007-111 Harrods Village LLC. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
Thank you.
Motion passes. Thank you. Next case would be the Lexington Montessori School, C 2007-88. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Tom Payne. I must also ask to be sworn in.
Do you swear that the information you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Thank you.
I'm sorry, your name?
My name is Thomas Payne. I'm the chairman and treasurer of Lexington Montessori School. The Lexington Montessori has read the staff's recommendation, the three conditions, and concur with all of them, and ask that you folks say yes.
Okay, thank you. Are there any questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I move we approve the appeal of Lexington Montessori School for a conditional use permit to expand an existing school in a planned neighborhood residential R3 zone on properties located at 315 to 325 South Broadway Park, Council District 11, based on the staff's recommendation and subject to their three conditions.
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of C 2007-88 Lexington Montessori School. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Page.
Thank you very much.
The next case to be heard would be C 2007-102, South Elkhorn Baptist Church, who appeals for a conditional use permit to establish a child care center accessory to the church in an agricultural rural AR zone property located 4867 for Sales Road, Council District 12. Your name, sir?
Damon Jones. I'm the pastor at South Elkhorn Baptist Church.
Thank you for being here. So have
Yes.
you had an opportunity to read the conditions for the approval of this from the staff?
Yes, a couple of questions. On the outdoor play area in the second section, this recommendation of approval is made subject to following conditions. Number 4, we do have plans hopefully later to build a gym. Will that, how would that make a difference, or would that?
Wouldn't, to my knowledge, it wouldn't make a difference right now. You would have to come back for that
Yes, I
at a later
understand that.
time.
Yes.
Anything else?
No, that's it.
And this outdoor play area will be fenced?
Yes, of
Okay.
course, yes.
All right. Any questions from the board?
I've got a question. How many kids are you going to have in this child care?
Well, we would probably want to start out no more than 30. This is something new to this church. I've had them in other churches that I've pastored, but this church hasn't, never had one, so.
I'd like the board to put a condition, if, I didn't see it on there, but if they could limit the number. Is it number 5? Okay, that's good.
There is a limit to number.
I see. Thank you.
Okay. Mrs. Bell?
Sir, will the church be the sole sponsor of this daycare, or is it possible that you might contract for someone to administer your daycare program?
No, ma'am. The process will probably be, and I am not familiar, although I'm a native of Kentucky, I'm not familiar with all the laws, so, but in the past, we've always had it as a separate entity, but a ministry of the church and fallen under our tax status as a church. And then once it ever developed, and that's our hope, is that it would have a separate director than me, but under our board of directors or our committees. But it would be the sole ministry of the church, right?
All right, thank you.
Any other questions from the board or staff?
No more questions.
If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I move that C-2007-102, South Elkhorn Baptist Church, appeals for a conditional use permit to establish a child care center accessory to the church in the agricultural rural AR zone on property located at 4867 Versailles Road, Council District 12, be approved as recommended by the staff and subject to the 5 conditions.
Motion's been made. Is there a second?
Second.
Motion has been made and seconded for approval of C 2007-102, South Elkhorn Baptist Church. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Our next case is C.
Chairman, excuse me.
Yes.
Do we need to stay around any longer?
No, sir.
Okay, thank you.
Unless you just want to stay and listen to us.
No, I wouldn't mind to adopt your process for a business meeting at church.
Well, have a Merry Christmas.
Next case, C 2007-104, David Allen appeals for a conditional use permit to establish a child care center in an existing church building in a high-density apartment R4 zone on property located at 313 Burleigh Avenue, Council District 11. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chairman, I'm Tom Lambden with Thoroughbred Engineering, here representing David Allen. We have read the recommendations of the staff and are in agreement with them and ask for approval.
Thank you. Are there any questions from the board or staff? Yes, ma'am. Mrs. Bell.
Yes. Is the church totally responsible for this daycare?
No, ma'am. It's a separate entity. It's actually KD Properties that will be administering the daycare center. The church will no longer exist. The building will be used solely for a daycare facility.
All right. Is it possible that your church might contract with another organization other than the one you just mentioned to administer this daycare program?
To the best of my knowledge, no. I do not have any knowledge that they would propose to do that.
I guess I'm not understanding. Is this building owned by a church, or is the church?
No, it is owned by KD Properties.
So there's not a church involved in this in any way?
Not at all. It is a former church building being converted to a daycare center. Sorry for the confusion.
No, that's fine.
I've got a question for the
Yes,
staff
sir.
about this stacking of cars during the drop-off time. Is there a way you'd like to monitor to see if there's improvements that need to be made in the traffic pattern later?
I think that it's just one of those situations where we'll get word of it if there's a problem, and then probably traffic engineering would get involved to monitor and see what could be done.
So you're satisfied with the conditions as they stand?
Yep.
Thank you.
There's something not right about this. Sir, will this be the only facility that the KD Properties LLC establishes as a daycare center?
To the best of my knowledge, that's correct.
When do you expect to open this daycare center?
It will need to go through the various permitting processes, so it's, just however the timeline works out for that. We will have to get with building inspection and engineering and, all of the governmental organizations to make sure that we meet all of their criteria, plus the state criteria.
Now, is this the type of situation that we would inform of the state that we have approved or disapproved this? At what point, as a result of our discussion with...
I believe at this point in time, we would not have to notify the state. I believe we would be notifying the state or local regulations if we, withdrew the conditional use for some reason, had a revocation hearing or whatever at a later date. But as far as approval, I don't know of any.
The state has to be notified by them to even get their license to open, and I'll need that before we get permission to go.
But remember, we had a meeting with them some time ago, and was there some discussion about...
I believe Mr. Owens was correct that we agreed we needed to inform them if we revoke a permit, because otherwise the state wouldn't have any knowledge of that, but that has nothing to do with the initial process of getting everything set up.
All right, thank you.
Also, Ms. Bell, I believe that the state requires certification from the local government that they have zoning permission. I believe that is part of their paperwork.
Thank you.
Any other questions from the board, concerns, or anything from the staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chairman, I'll move that C2007-104 David Allen appeals for the conditional use permit to establish a child care center in an existing church building in a high-density apartment R4 zone on property located at 313 Burleigh Avenue, Council District 11, be approved as recommended by the staff and subject to the 6 conditions.
Second.
Thank you. Motion's been made and seconded for approval of C 2007-104. Mr. David Allen. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Allen.
Thank you.
Or Lambden. The next case to be heard would be C 2007-105, Consolidated Baptist Church, who appeals for a conditional use permit to construct a new ministry center for a church in an agricultural urban AU zone on property located at 1625 Russell Cave Road, Council District 12. Yes, sir.
Mr. Chair, my name is Chris Howard with Carmen, representing Consolidated Baptist Church. We have read and understand the conditions and are in agreement with those conditions and request approval.
Okay, thank you, sir. Any additions from the staff or any questions from the board? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I guess I'm the only one here today. I'll approve. I move that C-2007-105 Consolidated Baptist Church appeals for a conditional use permit to construct a new ministry center for the church in the agriculture urban AU zone on property located at 1625 Russell Cave Road, Council District 2, be approved as recommended by the staff and subject to the 5 conditions.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded for approval of C 2007-105, Consolidated Baptist Church. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, sir. Next case would be C 2007-107, CMW Incorporated, who appeals for conditional use permit to extend the regulations of a planned neighborhood residential R3 zone up to 50 feet in an adjoining single-family residential R1C and also an agricultural urban AU zone on the same property for the purpose of providing additional parking spaces located at 935 Red Mile Road, Council District 11. Your name, sir?
My name is Brad Boaz, representing CMW, and we agree to the 3 conditions and ask for approval.
Thank you, Mr. Boaz. Any questions from the board or staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
I move that C 2007-107 CMW Incorporated appeals for a conditional use permit to extend the regulations of the planned neighborhood residential R3 zone up to 50 feet into the adjoining single-family residential R1C and agricultural urban AU zones on the same property for the purposes of providing additional parking spaces at 935 Red Mile Road, Council District 11, be approved as recommended by the staff, subject to the 3 conditions recommended by the staff.
Thank you. Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded for approval of C 2007-107 CMW Incorporated. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes. Thank you, Mr. Boaz. Next would be C 2007-109 Commonwealth Credit Union Incorporated, who appeals for a conditional use permit to construct a drive-through facility for a proposed bank in a P1 professional office zone on property located at 201 Ruscio Way, Council District 9. Yes, ma'am.
Sarah Tuttle with Strand Associates. It's Ruscio Way.
Ruscio, thank you. Always need help.
We have read the staff. I'm representing Commonwealth Credit Union. We have read the staff report and are in agreement with the conditions and request your approval.
Thank you. Any questions from the board or staff? If not, I'll entertain a motion.
Mr. Chair, I recommend that C 2007-107 C&W Inc.'s appeal for a conditional use permit to extend the regulations.
Turn over a page, I'm sorry.
What am I?
Next one.
Commonwealth.
Oh, sorry. I'll still do it.
Okay.
C 2007-109, Commonwealth Credit Union, Inc.'s appeals for a conditional use permit to construct a drive-through facility for a proposed bank and a professional office P1 zone on property located at 201 Ruscio Way, Council District 9, be approved as recommended by staff with the four recommendations that are subject to condition.
Second.
Thank you. Motion has been made and seconded for approval of C 2007-109, Commonwealth Credit Union Incorporated. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? Motion passes.
Thank you.
Have a good Christmas.
Thank you, you too.
Now, we will back up just a step, and I believe our next case and remaining case would be C 2007-101, Mission Lexington Incorporated, appeals for a conditional use permit to establish a church-sponsored free medical clinic for adults in a planned neighborhood R3 zone on property located at 1321 Trent Boulevard, Council District 8. And we have a few letters here that we'll pass through real quick. Give us just a moment. Give me just a couple more minutes, let these things circulate through.
Yeah. It's kind of interesting.
We're ready. One more minute. We've just got 2 or 3 left to read.
Excuse me, have you...
I'm looking at all the letters, if we can get them packaged up.
This,
Neighborhood Association, their staff report said Neighborhood Association was an approval. We've got an email here that says 1 and 1.
Well, we have a letter recommending.
excuse me, have you received a copy of all the...
I have not seen those letters, no, ma'am.
So the letter came through and then this.
But there's nobody here on their behalf to say.
Mr. Chairman,
All
I
right,
wonder
yes.
if the representative of the church would like to see these letters and have time to quickly review them before we begin.
Yes. Yes, we're going to gather them back up. Good, please. If you would, gather those letters back up and pass them back down this way. I'm sorry, I think we're ready to go. Your name, please, ma'am?
My name is Patsy Jacobs. I'm the Director of Mission Lexington Incorporated. We have reviewed the recommendations and approval of the staff and asked that the board would recommend it subject to those conditions. We have spoken with Councilman Myers. We've met with him. We've met with 2 of the neighborhood associations and had contact with 2 others. And we've tried to answer every question that they have. I've talked with them by phone and extensive email discussions back and forth. So we're available to answer any questions the board might have or to address any concerns that the neighborhood might have as well.
Okay, thank you. Obviously, we've got several letters here, some in favor, some
Sure.
with concerns that we'll pass back out and get to you as well to let you take a quick look at.
I have also prepared, and I don't know if it's appropriate at this time or if the board would like to have some additional information about Mission Lexington that I could pass out if you would like to have that.
Sure. Yes, sir. Yeah. Yes, I think so. Ms. Jacobs, one suggestion by a board member was, in an effort to give you a little bit of time to look at these letters, since we have, let you take a look at them, maybe we can address any questions, and in the meantime, also listen, ask the one lady who came in opposition to listen to her as well.
Sure, thank you.
Thank you. So at this time, anyone in opposition, yes, please come forward and state your name.
Good afternoon. My name is Julie Lush. I live at 1091 Trent Boulevard in the neighborhood of the proposed facility. I am an active member of our neighborhood association, and while we were unable to vote as an association and take a stance that way, I have received several emails and telephone calls from concerned members of our association. Basically, with all the talk of revitalization and the changes taking place in Lexington, we're really hopeful and encouraged that improvements will be made in our area. While Mission Lexington would provide a good service to the city, some of us feel that it's not necessarily the best fit for our area. These might be repetition for the letters you've received, but I have emails from our residents, and I also have some facts from the 2000 Census Bureau. I apologize, that's the most recent information I could find on median incomes in our area, as well as poverty levels across the city. Basically, we don't feel like this would benefit all of the residents in our neighborhood. If modifications are going to be made to the zoning by granting provisional use permits, we feel that the changes should benefit the entire neighborhood, especially the homeowners that have the most to benefit or lose from the situation. If I may present.
Okay, yes, please. Okay, what I'll do, let me let you hand that down to our staff, and they can put it up on the screen. We've seen these. Okay. Okay. I believe most of what you did hand us is what we have seen.
Yes.
Okay.
Basically, if you look at the per capita income in 99, it was approximately $19,000. I think it's safe to say that if we factor in inflation of approximately 3% a year, that raises the median income in our zip. This is specifically for our 40517 zip code. It raises the median income to about $24,000 or $25,000, which is above what Mission Lexington is requiring of their patients. This also, something to think about is that number includes seniors, children, and adults, both unemployed and employed. And Mission Lexington will not be providing services to seniors or children or unemployed adults. So the number of people within my area that this will benefit is rather small. If you look at the map that I provided, this kind of breaks down the poverty levels in Lexington. As you can see, our area is higher than some, but to me it would seem like this mission would have more of a benefit where there is a higher concentration of people in need of these services.
Okay, thank you. And you're talking, did I understand you right, the figures that you're showing, you mentioned your neighborhood, but also you're in the 40511 zip code?
It's all of our zip code. That was
Okay.
as narrow of a breakdown as I could get.
Okay. But that covers a fairly large area of Lexington, too. I know I'm on the north end, and that's my zip code. So, okay. Any questions from the board for Mrs. Lush at this time? No? Okay.
Yes.
Yes.
Did you mention if that was a median income or an average income or a per capita income?
Ms. Bell, turn your microphone on.
The $19,000 was a per capita income. There are also figures on there if you'd like to look at them for the median income as well.
Yes, I think that would be interesting.
Okay.
Do you have a copy of what what you showed up there?
That's my only copy, I'm sorry.
I wonder if I could see it, please.
Any other questions for Mr. Lush at this moment?
Is it your opinion or your neighborhood association's opinion that this particular, the mission is going to maybe not benefit the neighborhood? Or is it your opinion that it's going to degrade or decrease the property values within that particular area?
We're unsure of what it will do to the neighborhood. And as I stated, if we're going to make changes, we would like to see something that would benefit the entire population rather than just a select few.
Well, why wouldn't it benefit the entire population? What rationale do you offer that would show that it wouldn't benefit where you are?
According to those figures, it would only provide services to approximately 12% of the people.
That's 12%.
Most churches and missions normally do that, don't they?
Yes, under the zoning that it has right now, before the conditional use permit is.
Then why would this be any different? Why should this be any different? Why should this particular mission be any different than the rest that exist already?
There are residents who have expressed concern about the traffic, the expansion of the facility, the possible expansion of the facility. I don't think it's necessarily what the effects it can have immediately, but down the road, if they do choose to expand.
Looking here at some of the information that was submitted to us, 324 households were contacted, evidently door to door or whatever, and only one household gave a negative response to this out of 324. It sounds
Only one
to me,
household presented a negative response to the board or to anyone else involved,
it just said that they were
like the
contacted.
neighborhood association or the.
It didn't say the neighborhood association that I read, unless I misread it, but it did say within that area, and I would say it would be in that neighborhood. Why would they go anywhere else to contact the households? I mean, out of 324, you only got one negative response. It doesn't sound to me like they are opposing this project.
I have received emails from several people and phone calls from several people expressing opposition to this.
I believe at this point it'd be fair to say that, there were several letters or emails that came across the board here just a moment ago that we looked at, and of those 10 to 12, approximately half were in favor, half were opposed. What Mr. Stout's referring to is that the neighborhood association sent out a letter or an inquiry to 324 members of the neighborhood association, and there was only one response that they received back that was, in opposition to it.
No, we received more than one.
Well, it didn't show that up here, ma'am.
We've received more here, the planning staff did, but, the letter from the neighborhood association said one. 1 second, please.
Do you have the letter from the neighborhood association that expresses
I think this is, Ms. Lush, it's a timing issue. The original letter we got from the neighborhood association indicated support. In the interim time, there was a lot of correspondence going on between various folks. One of the explanations, I believe, that the neighborhood association president provided to some of those inquiries was a summary of the letters that the neighborhood association sent out, which was 324. Now, since that correspondence, there's been additional communication among the neighborhood and various folks. So the numbers don't add up just because of the timing of when things were received.
You know, as I mentioned, you know, I didn't count them totally, but I would say there's 12 to 14. Half of them are supporting it. Half of them are in opposition to it. So, at this time, are there any other questions for Ms. Lush? No? Do you have a question for staff?
No, I have a question.
Okay. We had one gentleman that raised his hand. Yeah, please come forward.
Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Lush. And your name, sir?
My name is Lou Gregory.
Lou Gregory?
Lou Gregory.
Are you here in opposition to this?
I'm actually, I didn't put down either one because our association, there is things, I'm sorry.
If I may interrupt you just for a moment.
Opposition, then.
I do not believe you were here early on. May I swear you in?
Oh, yes, I was.
You were? Okay, I'm sorry.
Yes.
I missed you. I'm sorry.
Did you say I do?
I do. Oh,
Okay.
yes.
I'm sorry. Sorry to interrupt you. Go right ahead.
Just to clarify just a moment ago, I am president of the Tatesbrook Neighborhood Association.
Okay.
So some of the things that I can speak on is based on that particular title that I have. But then again, I would also like to speak as a resident as well due to the bylaws that stand that we did not have time to actually take a vote on. The 324 households is our coverage area, but we do go beyond that. We have folks on River Park Drive that also are actively involved in our neighborhood association. Matter of fact, it is Charles and Emma Harris. They live at 1553 Thymes Drive, I believe it's how you pronounce it. Their property backs up to this particular location at 1321 Trent Boulevard. To get back to the question, Mr. Stout, about why the only one email, we had very limited, very quick time to act to get the word out to the residents within our district. I must say that Mission Lexington had done a fine job in wanting to come and meet with us and speak with our association. And we had to host it on the same night as we hosted Mayor's Night Out, only because that was the only time that we could get Patsy Jacobs and 3 other representatives from Mission Lexington to come out and speak to us as a neighborhood association. Whether that played a role in attendance or not, I can't tell you. We did have a good turnout to speak with the mayor, and we are grateful to Mission Lexington for coming and speaking with us. At the point of the meeting, when the meeting was over, all the officers, now I'm speaking as the president of the Tatesbrook Neighborhood Association, were feeling that this might be a pretty good thing. But the more that we started hearing from other neighbors, and especially within the last week, I came home one day and had 74 emails. And let me tell you, they're tough to go through. But because of our bylaws, we can't really take a vote as far as that goes. But we did offer a recommendation to Mission Lexington on behalf of the Tatesbrook Neighborhood Association, telling them that we would seek that yellow lines would be painted at the corner of Trent Boulevard and River Park Drive, and no parking signs posted because of the proximity of the said building location. I do have a few pictures, if it's possible to put those up so I can kind of give a few detail. Oh boy, I hope you can get that lighter.
While he's fixing that, let me ask you a question, please. Right here.
Where?
Right here.
Mr. Stout, right here.
Oh,
To your
I'm
left.
sorry. From in here, it sounds
Can you
like
brighten me up a little bit over there? Excuse the pun. You mentioned that over the last week you have received a great deal of emails, great many emails, 70 some odd, and you realize that these 324 households had been evidently contacted in some way. What do you think has changed the minds of these people?
I think a lot of people had other time to look at the issues that could correspond out
Stop right there and tell me the issues.
Issues about a sidewalk. It's not proposed to be planned to be put from the building down to Trenton River Park. As you can see, this picture right here is looking up Trent Boulevard from River Park Drive. There is a bus stop right there. The bus does not go any further. The only way for the folks going to the clinic would either have to go up that hill and back around to get down to the building, or go up the hill in the grassy part of the building. Another picture might show that. Now, on that, I'm speaking not as the Tatesbrook Neighborhood Association president, because we were not able to act upon this. This is what has been coming in, and folks have been asking, can you speak on our behalf? You know, Emma and Charles.
So are you saying that the influx of people in there would be forced to use the sidewalk? Is that what you're saying?
What I'm saying is it's going to propose a traffic situation right at that particular corner. There is a bus stop. There's the sign. There is also no bus shelter for these patients who are going to the clinic because they're ill. And for them to come out and stand in the cold or the heat or what have you, the property, as you see right there on the entrance on the right side of the trees, as you can see, there's nothing that leads up to that particular location. If they're going to treat asthma and such, some of the residents, and I'm speaking from that side, are wondering how are they going to be able to access that particular location, because most of the folks that they would be treating would be in a lower class income and probably would be relying upon massive transit.
Is that where your concern is, the relativity of the lower class income?
Absolutely not. I live at 1198, which is a whole lot closer than a lot of folks, okay? I do not have that problem. I've moved there since 2004 and been president of our neighborhood association since 2005. Mission Lexington has a good track record. I don't deny that. They've been absolutely wonderful, and I've even emailed Patsy dealing with the issue of the sidewalk and such, and she said, we'll put one in. And I had mentioned that we might check with the property owners just to make sure that they would allow such. Another concern, these all came up after the fact that we met with them back on November 26th was the date. That's when we hosted Mayor's Night Out. Another concern that residents had voiced was, will there be snack machines and soda machines for those who might want to get a drink, or somebody who has diabetes with a spike or a drop-off in their sugar, can they get a snack?
You're losing me, and you're losing some of my support argument here, because I think it's irrelevant what you're bringing to me right now. I think where I'm more concerned about what you're talking about relative to the neighbors and the people getting to and from the mission is my interest.
Okay.
I'm not interested about the snack machines. They may have snack machines in the facilities. That's not my concern, and I'm not interested in that.
Mr. Stout, you had brought up what all of a sudden brought all these 74 emails, so I was trying to relate.
But I think some of them are irrelevant, though, really, to what they're trying to do here.
Okay. Let me get back then to the yellow curb and the parking signs. We had called Jim Marks at the planning board, and he told us to get a letter to him and that he would send someone from traffic out to survey the situation. As of Wednesday, that has not been done. So Mission Lexington agreed, and we agreed that we would submit and that they would be willing, as a conditional use, that there would be yellow lines painted so people don't try to park there and try to just walk up the hill and go to the clinic.
Are there no parking signs along there now?
I did not see any, sir. I actually took a picture. The only one I see is the bus stop. Now, the curb that is on River Park Drive is almost as flat as the grass, and there had been painting there at one point, at one time. The only thing that we don't want to see is there's a school bus stop right there at that corner. There is a Lexington bus stop at that corner. I've seen people in wheelchairs waiting to get on the bus. And what we're trying to not have happen is a big congestion going on there, and the bus pulls in on River Park and stops in the middle of the street, and then people have to try to get over to the bus. That's why we were imposing the fact of having the curbs painted and the signs put up, to which Mission Lexington agreed with us. They thought that that was a legitimate concern.
And I won't argue with that. I think that makes a lot more sense than some of the things I've listened to. But the point of it is that when you're looking at this particular project relative to where the problems may come from, I don't buy all of that. I just can't buy all of that right now, and I want to listen to more before I tell you. Right now I'm in support of this program, but if there's something there that's going to hinder the neighbors, and it's going to hinder the neighborhood more than the ethnicity of this program, then I would favor the neighborhood. Otherwise, I would not.
My information to you is based upon this, but we did have concern about a pharmacy being operated out there as well.
Thank you.
Thank you, sir.
If I could submit this letter
Yes,
that we had
please.
sent to Jim Marks from the Planning Board. And again, the only thing that we're asking is before passage that we could have traffic engineering out there to study this. And we'd like to see if Lexington wouldn't mind putting in a bus shelter there for the folks who ride it back and forth.
Okay. Thank you.
Before you sit down, could I ask you one question? I'm right here.
Please. Yeah, I see you.
I understand your desire for the yellow curbs to keep cars from parking there and then working their way up to the clinic. But people that come by bus would be dropped off at that corner. Would you be opposed to a sidewalk that goes up to the clinic from the corner?
No. We're absolutely. We would love to see that. That's the whole point. We wasn't fighting against that. We'd love to see a sidewalk with handrails so that folks can get up there a whole lot easier than having to walk clear up Trent and back around the back. Now, there is a parking lot back there, but Patsy would have to tell us if there's an actual parking lot that sits directly behind that particular building, which I don't know if that's there or not, so I can't answer that.
But people that come to the clinic with their own transportation should park up by the church and take the sidewalks from the church to the clinic.
That is
and
correct.
People that come by public transportation should get off at the corner and take a new sidewalk up the hill.
The only thing that I'm stating is the fact that Lexington does not go no further than that particular stop. So if someone from across town wants to go to the clinic for treatment and takes Lexington, that's where they're going to get left off. And if they're suffering from any kind of illness or whatever, they may not be able to make that trek up the hill and back around the back or even up the grass. I don't know.
Thank you.
Yeah. Sir?
Yes.
First of all, I appreciate your recommendations for the yellow line and the walk up to the clinic, and that certainly would help resolve, if not resolve, one of the major issues that seems to have been raised. Have you taken or have you had an opportunity to make inquiries about some of the other locations that exist in the community that Mission Lexington and others have, as noted on the map that was prepared for us to check how many people might have a clinic much closer to where they live, that this is not the only clinic in the community?
That is correct. We understand that it is a mission that is looking for the 8th District and on the south side of Lexington. And again, our officers, we were pretty contingent that we thought it was a pretty good idea, and then the residents and such started asking more questions and things, and that made us want to go, well, now, wait a minute, that's some legit concerns. So then we started looking at it, and I don't, personally, we were in here last year when another particular location tried to come up there, and they were they were not prepared at all to take that, and it was voted down. Mission Lexington, like I said, does have a track record. I think that we would just like a good track record. I think we would just like to see some issues and concerns from the citizens addressed before we can say yay or nay.
You are saying issues from the neighbors addressed, and I guess you're referring to your 70 emails, and the only one you've mentioned is traffic, and if we're talking a yellow curb and a sidewalk, then that addresses that issue, right? If there's other issues, I'd like to hear what they are.
Okay, well, I have got, let me put this email into, I don't think you have it, it's from Emma and Charles Harris at 1553.
If it's not too lengthy, why don't you just read it into the record? I just want to know what issues you've got other than traffic.
The bus, okay, that's the issue, and the drink machines and being able to provide.
I'm sorry, I don't understand what a snack machine or anything as far as snack machine or vending machine inside the building would have to do. I don't see somebody coming to get a drink.
Well, if you were coming in for treatment, number one, we're talking a medical clinic. We're not talking you coming in healthy, but you're coming in as someone who needs medical attention based upon what they're going to treat for, asthma, high blood pressure, and other different things. If you're in there and you have some kind of situation where you have a medical condition, and we even asked them, what would you do if a medical emergency arose? And Patsy's answer was, well, we do what most people do and call 911. Well, what would you do in the meantime? I am not at all sitting here trying to, this is just, now, as strong and as silly as it may sound, I know people who, if they don't get any orange juice or they don't get something sweet, if they have some kind of downfall in their sugar, they could go into a coma or pass out or something. That's the only thing that we're asking, and there's a lot of...
Yeah, thank you, Mr. Gregory. I'm a diabetic myself, so I can appreciate your concern there. Maybe I'm oversimplifying this, but if there's going to be a free medical clinic there housed and staffed with medical personnel, I would surely think they'd be able to treat someone that needs sugar because they're had too much insulin. I would think. Maybe I'm wrong, but let me at this time do this: give the applicant a chance to talk.
Sure. And
maybe a couple answers from them could spell a lot of concerns here.
Okay, I'm going to...
Yes, thank you.
Thank you.
If I could just mention a little bit about the yellow curbing.
Thank you, Mr. Gallimore.
The Division of Traffic will be glad to look at the situation, particularly if this conditional permit goes through. I just want to make sure everybody that's aware we can't put yellow curbing nor no parking signs just anywhere we want to. We have certain guidelines that we go by ordinance. So if there is a place that merits either yellow curb or no parking signs for congestion purposes, we can do so. But if it does not meet those constraints, then we just can't yellow curb it because that's what the neighborhood or the applicant or, for that matter,
Sure.
for what anybody else wants.
Would you be able to guess whether you likely could or could not here? I mean, you know what the ordinance are. Does this look like a situation where you probably could or probably could not?
One reason you use yellow curb or no parking is if the street is too narrow and there's a clearance issue.
And that street's...
I would presume that if the street was too narrow, that we would have already got the call on that and it would have already been signed or curbed already. The other thing that we do is we like to keep people off the radius of the curves for sight distance purposes. Most people know not to park at the very end of a street, But if they are parking there, then sometimes we can yellow curb that for a certain number of feet to reiterate the fact that they should not be parking there. I saw in one picture a fire hydrant. You're not supposed to park in front of a fire hydrant. However, we have people call us all the time and want us to yellow curb in front of a fire hydrant. That's kind of a gray area for us. If people are continuously parking there, then we have in the past yellow curb that, but we actually are not required to. People should know not to park within 10 feet of either side of a fire hydrant.
And how about the bus stop?
Pardon me?
Is a bus stop yellow curbed?
If the bus stop cannot be yellow curb, because then the bus couldn't stop there. So that's what I'm saying. I'm not quite sure that the yellow curbing is a solution to these issues. And at this point, I'm assuming right now there are no problems here, because there's no complaints that I'm aware of at this corner. And I'm not so sure that what these folks want to do are going to create any problems. It just doesn't seem like a lot of volume to me, to where all of a sudden people are going to be parking everywhere. And I think the point was made that probably a lot of the people will be coming on the bus. So the bus is stopping there already. The only difference is it might take an extra minute or two for the bus to load or unload if there are more passengers on there than what it's currently carrying. So what I've seen, to me, the pedestrian access issue to the building is might be a little bit better idea than looking at the yellow curbing. But all I'm saying is we can go out and look at that, but there are only certain places where we can yellow curb. The other thing that I'd like to mention is the other reason that we like to go by the books on the yellow curbing is it seems like that makes half the people happy, and then the other half the people call us and say they don't like that ugly yellow paint on the curb. So particularly in your residential areas, we tend not to put down yellow curb unless it's necessary.
Well, doesn't the council also have a committee that reviews where you put stop signs and these kinds of things? Because I've noticed that from time to time that watching Channel 3, that they'll say that the rules say that there shouldn't be a stop sign. However, giving consideration for this, that committee makes a recommendation to the council to put a stop sign someplace.
Right.
So that even though there are a set of rules, there is a degree of flexibility that if it's generally thought that this might be an answer to this problem, they could go before the committee if the rules would not permit.
I am aware of the situation where we have done a warrant survey, and the survey has indicated that the stop sign is not indicated, and the council, as a means of traffic calming in most cases, has initiated a resolution for us to go ahead and install the stop sign.
So I've noticed
But
that on occasion.
I'm not aware of any situations where they've done that for yellow curbing, no parking. So,
But I believe that they do have some, that the committee has taken the opportunity to review some of the rules and have voted to do something about the situation.
like I said, it does occur for stop signs. I'm not aware for the curbing, but I'm not saying that can't happen. I really don't know. I just don't know that I have seen that situation come up before. And as I mentioned, if it's really not going to serve any purpose, I'm not quite sure why anybody would want to do that. And that's not to say maybe there are other things that need to be done. As I mentioned, if the street is real narrow, maybe it does need to be restricted with no parking signs as opposed to yellow curb. So, but there's not an issue in us going out and looking at it. But I'm still going under the premonition that there's not a problem now, or I would have thought we would have heard about it. And if this development were to create some type of problem, we would certainly try to address it within the scope of what we're allowed to do.
Much more, I'm just as concerned as I don't see that this corner is wheelchair accessible. Now, we can't see the one walkway, but certainly the walkway from that side is not accessible.
Right, but that would be basically up to the property owner. You know, once it's out of the public right of way, Traffic engineering, for example, cannot make them install a sidewalk. It could possibly be a condition of your approval.
There is a wheelchair ramp.
Right, we don't do that. And the other thing that I'd like to mention too, it's not uncommon that when a use changes, sometimes Lexington may elect to move a bus stop. So if their ridership jumps up a lot at this particular site, it may be the fact that they will actually change their bus stop location to be more accommodating to this facility.
Mr. Gallimore, correct me if I'm wrong, but I would think that having a posted bus stop, that if the Lexington bus could not get to its stop because of vehicles being parked there, that Lexington themselves would take care of the situation.
Correct.
Okay.
Like I said, if they're not supposed to be parking there, then that's a police issue.
Sure.
The police would have to deal with that.
Sure. And then also, in one of the conditions, I believe it does state that on-street parking conditions near the corner of Trent and River Park shall be monitored by the appellant in conjunction with traffic engineering to determine if any restrictive parking arrangements is warranted in the area.
Right.
So,
all I'm saying is I can't sit here and promise
Right.
you anything today. We would have to look at it
Sure.
and see what the situation was.
Sure.
A lot of people, when they don't hear the last part of the sentence sometimes, and they just hear traffic engineering is going to curb it.
Yeah.
And I'm just trying to say I cannot commit that we will put curb or no parking signs or anything until we go look at it.
Thank you, Mr. Gallo. Ms. Jacobs?
Thank you. I've made...
Once- One seven, okay.
It runs approximately from New Circle Road to Man of War and
Okay.
from Richmond Road to Nicholasville.
Thank you. I thought 40511 in that area might be a little strange. But, sorry. Yes, thank you. Ms. Jacobs?
Thank you. I've made several notes of things, and I'll go through those and then be happy to answer any questions. One comment was made about the inability to respond to our request in a timely manner from the neighborhood associations. We filed this request on November the 7th, on Wednesday. On November the 9th, a Friday, we met with Councilman Myers, and that day I contacted the Tatesbrook and the Center Parkway associations. We were invited and came to meet with the Tatesbrook Association on November the 27th. And up until 2 days ago at 3 o'clock, I was unaware of any opposition to this whatsoever. And I understand it's arisen over the last week. So, up until that time, we were assured by the neighborhood associations that everything was fine and they were in full support of this. Mr. Gregory is correct. We have discussed the parking issue and the bus stop issue. There are 111 parking spots on site. We will work mostly by appointment. There will be a few walk-in spots for folks who have acute problems, a cold or a flu or something that they need immediate attention for. But for the most part, we'll be seeing patients on an appointment basis. And when we speak with them on the phone and make the appointment, we will reiterate to them they need to park on site and not park on the street so as to alleviate that. There's plenty of parking on site there. The parking is not directly adjacent to the building we will be in, but we will have volunteers. We'll make arrangements. If anybody has trouble getting to the building itself, we will make sure that that's not an issue. We will be seeing adults over 18 people who live in Fayette County who are working and who have no insurance and whose income is less than 185% of the federal poverty level, and those figures are in that information I gave you. So it's certainly possible and even likely that we'll be seeing people who are wheelchair bound and can't get to the building, but we will be seeing people who are gainfully employed. And so these are not people who are terribly disabled and unable to get to a building or unable to get to a place there. With regard to the bus stop, I told Mr. Gregory, and I will tell you all, we will do whatever the city wants us to do on that. I'd go paint a yellow line right now if they'd let me, but I don't think that's the case. I don't think that issue can be resolved until we're actually open to see what the actual impact is. I don't think at this point we know what the impact is going to be on that. We'll certainly work with the city and the neighborhood. We fully support the neighborhood on that. I have no issues or concerns about painting that line if that's what's warranted. With regard to a sidewalk coming up from the bus stop to the building, if that's necessary, we'll do that. We'll build that. I know it will be probably an expensive proposition to do and may require further permits from the city to do that, but we'll take care of that. We have never said that we won't build that if it's warranted. Again, if that's something that is necessary for us to do. With regard to a pharmacy on the property, we do hope to have a partnership with Faith Pharmacy, that they can have a satellite pharmacy in our clinic. We have told the neighborhood associations, and this is part of our policies, we will not keep narcotics or scheduled drugs on site, no pain medications. Most of the antibiotics that folks get now are available at Walmart and Myers, either free or for $4, so we probably won't even need to keep that. The medications we'll be keeping will be for high blood pressure, for diabetes, for emphysema, things that have no street value to them. We will make extra security measures in that pharmacy room. It will be separate from the clinic, locked off separately, and have extra security measures. So I don't anticipate that that will be a security issue for the area. I kind of hate to address this, but I will. With regard to the snack machine, first and foremost, this is a health clinic, and I would be much more inclined to give out water and juice and fruit than I would be to put a snack machine in there. We will be fully equipped to handle any medical situations that come up. So any questions that you all might have, I'll be happy to address.
I have two questions. Okay, one is on this material. You said one of the reasons you chose the location was because it would, this neighborhood would directly benefit. In light of what the witness here has said, does that change your mind on the appropriateness of this location?
It does not. I think if we target adults who have income of less than 185% of the federal poverty level, on the green sheet that's there, for a family of four, 185% of the poverty level is $38,000. So we will hit, I believe, many of the people in that neighborhood. As a secondary matter, even if we don't hit those people in that, a large percentage of the people in that neighborhood, when we improve the health of the people that live there, even if it's a few, we do benefit the whole community. We benefit that neighborhood greatly. If they can keep their homes, they can keep their jobs, their children are stable in school, then we do benefit that neighborhood very directly. But I do think we will hit a lot of those that are working adults who have no other insurance within 185% of the federal poverty level.
Okay. And my other question for you is, have you had a lot of complaints with the dental clinic on South Limestone? How is that working?
We've had zero complaints with that. It works very well. We've been open since June of 2006. I counted our files yesterday when this question arose from Ms. Lush after I talked with her on Wednesday afternoon. We have 332 files open at this point. We see many, many, many patients, have had zero complaints from the community or the neighborhood. We see them on an appointment basis, so it's not a walk-in place where there's traffic outside and lines out the door for appointments.
And are the hours for the dental clinic more or less the same as they would be for the medical clinic?
I anticipate it will be more or less the same. It's going to be based on the availability of the physicians to come. We rely solely on the volunteer dentists who come, and we're open on Monday and Tuesday evenings. We try to be open all day on Fridays because a lot of dentists take off on Friday, but apparently they take off because they don't want to work. So we have more trouble on Fridays. And then we're open on Saturday mornings as well. And I anticipate the same model. It may not be those exact hours, but that same model of evening hours when the volunteers are available to work.
I have not a question, but a suggestion. You have 3 recommended conditions here by the staff, and I'd like to introduce 2 more to you and let you think about this, because I think it probably could help solve some of the concern. You have 3 conditions. I'd like to add number 4, where regarding parking. The parking shall be on the Mission site and not on Trent Boulevard or River Park. And at essence, that you would have to contact the people that you are having appointments with to make them aware that they shall not park on the streets, but on your property. Is that possible for you to do that?
I think that's possible for us to do that. My concern is who's...
I just want to know if it's possible for you to do that.
It's possible for us to contact them and tell them to park on our property.
Then I
Yes,
think
sir.
that they should be notified, and
Yes, sir.
and if they don't follow that, then it's to their peril.
Yes.
All right, number 5, that the mission shall be subject to a one-time review within the first 6 months.
I have no objection to that whatsoever.
That's my recommendation, Mr. Chair.
Okay, thank you.
I have one more question, and it's
Yes, Mr.
about
Briggs.
how this might expand into something larger than what you've described, and if you anticipate that it might. Am I right that it's outpatient care? You're not keeping people overnight?
Oh, no, absolutely not, yes. It's
And
primary
these are
care.
medical conditions. It's not for alcoholism or, and you don't see it expanding in any way other than maybe volume, but not in other areas?
Not in services. No, it's a primary care clinic, as if you were going to a private physician's office.
Okay, thank you.
Speaking of primary care clinics, have you had any conversation with the health department in terms of what means of transportation many of the people who use that clinic on site on Newtown Pike? Do they all come by bus, or do most of the people come by automobiles, or do they ever have problems with trash on the parking lot or anything like that?
I've
Or
not
is
had
it
that
usually
conversation. I don't know.
Very clean, and most people come by automobiles.
Yes. I don't know. I haven't had that conversation with them.
Ms. Jacobs, one question I've had all along, in reading through this, and it appears that your intention are for the patients, people that come in to park in the parking lot, which is shown there. Is there a sidewalk?
Yes, there is.
Leads from the parking to
Yes.
your building?
It comes on the top side of the building that's marked church. Church is kind of sideways and upside down. It comes on the far side of that, around the building and down.
It comes all the way around then? Okay, so they do have sidewalk access?
Yes, absolutely.
Okay. All right. And just curious, on the yellow sheet, it mentions the Mission Lexington currently works out of an apartment at Crystal Springs?
Uh-huh. We have an apartment ministry. It's kind of another arm of Mission Lexington. We have rented an apartment at Crystal Springs, which is on Alexandria Drive.
Oh, okay. It's
A separate entity
Okay.
from this.
Okay.
And I think that was an issue that was raised in some of the letters that I reviewed briefly, that they had looked at our website and were concerned about some other
I
things.
just was not familiar with Crystal Springs.
Okay. It's an apartment complex on Alexandria.
Okay.
I just had a related question on that. Do you expect most people to drive or to take the bus?
My anticipation is that most will drive.
Because if they drive, then you wouldn't want a sidewalk, because that would encourage people to park on Trent.
This is true, yes.
Okay. Any other questions? No?
Most people.
Thank you. Any?
Gentleman back there wants to speak.
Yes? Yes, sir. Please.
I'm Bob Sessom, a Good Shepherd Episcopal Church, and heavily involved in this. And you need to swear me in or what?
Yes, thank you. I believe I
I
do.
do, but whatever.
Thank you.
If you're not going to tell the truth, we don't need to listen.
You swear the information you're about to give shall be the truth?
I do.
Thank you.
Several years ago, the health department was very interested in this location, and one building just over from this, to use it as a satellite for the health department. And part of that was that at night would be used for this same purpose for an adult-free clinic. And it received support at that time without any major problems or difficulties. Sorry that it didn't work out at that time for the health department to use it, but this is the same purpose we're adhering at this particular time.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. Anything else? Yes, Ms. Lush or Mr. Gregory, in all fairness, a chance for any further comments as far as rebuttals from what's been said? No? Okay. Thank you. If there's nothing else, any questions? Any other questions from the board?
If not, I'll make a motion.
Okay. Please.
I move that C 2007-101, Mission Lexington's appeal for a conditional use permit to establish a church-sponsored free medical clinic for adults in a planned neighborhood residential zone on property located at 1321 Trent Boulevard be approved with the recommendations made by the staff and the 2 added by Mr. Stout regarding parking.
Okay, thank you.
I'll second.
Thank you, Mr. Stout. We do have the conditions 4 and 5 up on the screen. Mr. Jacobs, please take a moment. You're okay with those? Okay.
I have a question.
Yes.
Is 6 months after today's date, or 6 months after they get a certificate of occupancy?
6 months after they get the certificate of occupancy.
Okay.
Okay, thank you, Mr. Hume.
All right, is the applicant aware they have to contact us for that? We won't seek you out for that? Okay, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, could we also clarify what type of review we all want? Do you want a full-scale review where the applicant would be required to renotice all the neighbors that were originally noticed, or do you want a review where a building inspection comes and gives a report? Or
I just want the review from the standpoint of the building inspection.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you. So, motion has been made and seconded for approval of C 2007-101 Mission Lexington Incorporated, subject to the 5 conditions, 3 listed in their agenda and the 2 additional ones shown on the board, 4 and 5. All those in favor, please say aye.
Aye.
Any opposed?
I will have to abstain. I'm a member of one of the churches mentioned, and I'm very familiar with the mission that is being brought before you.
Motion passes with 1 abstention. Thank you. As far as the agenda, I believe that covers everything. Are there any items that the board wishes to bring up at this time?
I don't think.
Any items from the staff?
Mr. Chairman, other than to wish you a very happy holiday and Merry Christmas and Happy New Year. Thank you for your kind and dedicated service to the community this year.
Same to you all.
Same to you.
And to add to that, Mr. Chairman, I've been asked on behalf of the Division of Planning to invite you all to a Christmas lunch that we're having next Tuesday. It starts at 11:30. So if you're wandering around downtown and are lost and hungry and need a place to go, come on over.
Good idea.
Where is it going to be?
That'd be 7th floor of the Phoenix Building.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you.
Thank you. If there's no other business, our next meeting date will be January 25th, 2008, and I wish everybody the happiest of holidays. This meeting is adjourned.